Hi guys, Miss Seidel here again. Because those can be tricky, I figured I would just give you one more example of how you'd set up a sex-linked pedigree. So the first thing you want to do is figure out the genotypes of your males. Easy enough to do, because remember we're using X's and Y's. So since sex-linked traits are typically found on the X chromosome, if a male is affected, then we know that his X chromosome is affected. So we're going to say that this is the trait of hemophilia. Oops. Let's see. I'll put it right up here. Hemophilia. So if a male is affected, then he will have a genotype of XHY. If he's unaffected, then his genotype will be just plain old XY. So let's go through and fill in the genotypes of our males here. So this guy is going to be XY, 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 XY. And okay, so those are all of our unaffected males. These guys who are shaded in are our affected males, so their genotype would be XHY, XHY, and XHY. Good. Okay, so now we need to figure out the females. We have no affected females. So now we need to figure out, are these females, are they going to be carriers, or are they going to have two completely unaffected X chromosomes? So females could have XX or XHX if they're unaffected. So what do we do? The first thing we can do is we can start looking at either their parents or their offspring. For this one, let's just start at the top. So we have this female in generation 1 who has children, a boy and a girl, individuals number 1 and 2 in generation 2. The dad here in generation 1, this guy, is, let's see, there we go. That guy is unaffected. So we know that he is giving an X chromosome to his daughters and a Y chromosome to his sons. He gave the Y chromosome to this person number 1 here in generation 2. So that means that this son got an affected X chromosome from his mother. So we know that she must have an XH. She does not show the trait though, so we know that she must be XHX. So she has one unaffected X chromosome, which is the one that's dominant, because hemophilia is a recessive trait. All right, so we figured her out. Let's go on and figure out the genotype for individual number 2 in generation 2. So she could either have, she got an unaffected X from her dad, for sure, and it could either be an affected X or an unaffected X from her mom. So we're not sure, but thankfully she has some children, so we can have a look. Now we know that she has one unaffected son, but she also has an affected son. The sons always get their X chromosome from their mother because they're getting their Y chromosome from their dad. And since individual number 4 in generation 3 is affected, we know that his mom must have at least one affected X chromosome. Because she doesn't show the trait, she must also have an unaffected X chromosome. So we know that her genotype is XHX. Okay, now we can head over to individual number 5 in generation 3. She has a mom who's a carrier and a dad who is unaffected. But she doesn't have any children yet. We don't know. We know that she got a regular X chromosome from her dad, but we don't know if she got an affected X chromosome from her mom or an unaffected. So we can say that she's XX or XHX. She may be a carrier, she may not. We don't know. Let's head over to person number 2 in generation 3. She got one X chromosome from her dad here, and which means that she has at least one affected X chromosome. We know that she has an unaffected X chromosome too because she does not show the trait, so she must be XHX. which means that she had to have gotten at least one unaffected X chromosome from her mother. Um, Now, we don't know for sure, though, if her mother is a carrier or is not a carrier, because if you look at her kids, she has two children who have regular X chromosomes, and she definitely gave an unaffected X chromosome to her son, person number 1 in generation 3. So we are going to say that she is XHX or XX. We're not sure because she could be XHX and she could have just given this unaffected X chromosome to her son, person number 1 in generation 3. Okay. Where are we? We've got just a few people left in our pedigree. So let's take a look at the people in generation 3, that this first female here. We don't know if she is two plain X's or a carrier, so we are going to say that she's XHX or XX. We know she doesn't show the trait. Those are the two possibilities. She doesn't have any offspring with the trait, so there's a good chance that she's XX, but we don't know for sure. And then the same would go for her two daughters here in generation 4, person 1 and person 2. So these guys would both be XX or XHX. All right, and then we have one person left, person number 5 in generation 4. She got one X chromosome from her dad, and that was a plain X chromosome. And she could have gotten a plain unaffected X chromosome from her mom, or she could have gotten an affected X chromosome from her mom and still not show. We don't know if she's a carrier or not. So she is going to be XX or XHX. So I think we have gotten the genotypes for everyone in this family who's on the pedigree so far. I hope that that was helpful, and please let me know if you still have questions about how to fill out a sex-linked pedigree. I will see you guys soon.